Hi and welcome back to It's a Miracle Beauty. My name is Brandy and I am a beauty reviewer slash pan challenges and basically looking to downsize what I have. I will never be a minimalist ever in any form of the word in any area of my life. However, I have realized that I like using what I like and I don't need a ton of everything. I used to like to try every new foundations in particular, every new perfume, every new everything, and I kind of realized that I don't even really have fun with it anymore. So in case you're new here and you've never seen anything or you don't recognize this face, I previously had this channel on another YouTube channel that was rebranded. My other YouTube channel actually is for my business and for my YouTube. It's cash budgeting, and I found cash budgeting. I rebranded my channel. But I kept having this pinging, like wanting to do this channel again. So I decided to restart it. So when that channel previously existed, and you can go look at all those videos, either on this channel, I re-uploaded them, or originally when I posted on that channel. Again, I'll link it down below. It was trying the newest foundation. The day it came out, I go to Sephora, being the first one to try things, trying to get things out there, because if you're not one of the first for new things, you kind of get pushed down into the search engine. So I concentrated on that, and I just kept buying all these things I knew wasn't going to work for me. When I talked in my previous video about matte foundations, just kept buying them, even though I have desert dry skin with glowy primer and oils. I still can't get those to work for my skin typically. So I slowly over the last 3 years, first I did a complete drought from makeup. I wasn't wearing makeup. I wasn't collecting makeup. I wasn't buying makeup. I was working basically 60 hours a week, and I just put my head in that. Even though I love makeup and as a creative outlet for me, I felt like I didn't have the self-control to both use and not purchase. So it was really important to me to change that attitude and everything else. So fast forward to this year, I resumed wearing makeup again, and I've been pretty modest in my purchases with the exception of Black Friday and using my points at Ulta. So the first thing I want to cover today is my no-buy rules. I'm doing a pretty strict no-buy, but I do have allowances within that allow me to purchase things. So I kind of want to go through that. So I'm doing a no-buy, or really a no-buy. I guess low-buy with certain things, but majority of things a no-buy for all categories, unless I completely use everything I have in that category. So like take brow products. If I use all my brow gels, I can go buy a brow gel. But if tomorrow somebody comes out with a brow gel, it doesn't mean I can just go purchase it. I need to have some constraint and restrict those purchases. I'm looking at my notes if you wonder why I looked out. There is an exception that's really key, but this has some caveats. So I am trying to get away from collecting makeup, particular things that are cream liquid that go bad faster. My palettes are up on the wall up here, and I will not be not collecting those. I'm an avid, I purchase almost every Natasha Denona. Actually, prior to this video, I would have said every Natasha Denona, but I am not purchasing the new pastel. I have so many feelings about that palette, not purchasing that. But Natasha Denona, ABH, and Urban Decay, which I feel like is the like stepchild, you know, unloved relative right now, but I love their palettes. Some of the ones that are the most hated are some of my favorites, so I will be collecting those. So the other thing I'm doing to save money in my beauty category is I'm actually pushing out my beauty things. So I get my face waxed and my brows done. I get my nails done. I use dip, and then I get my hair done. I get you know, cut, dye, whatever. Normally they want to say about every 6 weeks for the waxing, about every 2 weeks for the nails, and then about every 12 weeks for the hair. I'm pushing those appointments out. So my nail stylist and we now do 3 weeks. So far, with the exception of my last fill, it's been amazing. And I'm saving money because it's $55 with tip for my fill. And instead of every 2 weeks, it's every 3. So I save literally full appointment amounts every couple months. So that's fantastic. I was really happy about that. My waxing, I am fine using a, what are they? I started to say a straight razor. That'd be scary. I can't think what they're called now. The little like brow and face razors that shave your face. I'm fine doing that. I'm fine plucking hairs if I need to. So I tend to push that envelope a little bit. My hair is getting to be a problem. My hair is very long. It's almost to my butt, and it's getting to the point where, like right now, my hair appointment is January 14th, and my hair is starting to tangle at the ends pretty much no matter what I do. It doesn't matter if I put oil in them, doesn't matter if I straighten them. They need to be cut. So that, I'm gonna have to play with that. I think I did I'm pretty sure I did 16 weeks this time, so I might try 14 weeks. And then if 14 weeks works right, I might go to 15. Just play with that number until I figure it out. There are some things that I'm going to consciously avoid buying this year. So I have a beauty, because I'm a cash budgeter, I have a sinking fund that's for beauty. Technically, in my budget mind, I can use that money for anything I want. And as long as I stay within that budget, then I'm not doing anything wrong. But the problem is, like, I recently did my inventory, which I will talk about. And then I also did a declutter. I do my declutters after my inventory because it shows me if I had not done my inventory, what I would have in my collection. Because if I don't inventory, I don't declutter unless something literally is this old, doesn't work, things like that. I really declutter in one item at a time. So I did both of those. And as I was looking, I have more foundation and more blush in particular, and concealer for that matter, than any one person could ever use. Like, I could not, if these didn't go bad, I could never buy one for the rest of my life, and I think I would have enough. So the avoiding categories I'm going to do is non-collection eyeshadows and palettes. One in particular that's going to be a serious struggle for me, and this one is Pat McGrath. I love Pat McGrath, but something I'm realizing, a couple things I'm realizing, I don't like the business practices of, if there's an error on their website, they want you to pay for it, ship it, and bring it back. If your site errors, I don't believe I should have to do that. You should be able to cancel an order. That's the first thing. Second thing, their shipping times. Sometimes I get my order in like 2 days and I'm like, how did that even get here? You're nowhere near me. And other times it's like 10, 16 days, 21 days. I mean, it gets a little bit ridiculous. Now, I'm very patient on launches, but I do think her shipping is a little out of control. But the biggest realization I had recently, I was using every palette in my collection earlier this year. I think I started that in spring. I wanted to use every palette at least once. I wanted to know I wanted that, I needed that, and it needed to be in my life. Is basically how I was looking at it. So every morning when I get ready for work, I picked a different palette. And as I picked a different palette, I'd move that palette I used to another shelf and I'd keep going on the ones I hadn't used. So I used all 10 of my motherships during that time period. And something that I came to realize is I don't love the way they look on me. Like, when I see other people use them, especially Pat McGrath's amazing videos, I'm like, oh my God, that's beautiful. When I put it on me, I don't love it. And skill could play a role. I'm not a makeup artist. I mean, I'm 44. I've been wearing makeup for 30 years, but more than 30 years. But it's more than that. I think it's that, and I don't know how else to say it other than artsy fartsy. I love art and I love beautiful things. And so I want to make my eyes look like that. And there's other things that play there, from Photoshop to skill level to everything. Even the model's lasers play a role. So Pat McGrath's one I'm going to have a really difficult time. It's going to be really hard for me to detract and not do those. The exception I'll make is if I use my budget, I stay within budget, and Pat McGrath has one of her amazing sales. She's done like up to 40% or 45% recently. So that's when I purchase from her. I don't ever pay full price, with the exception of recently I did and I regretted it hardcore. I bought her holiday collection, did my whole collection, bought all 3 eyeshadow palettes. They're all discounted now. I'm like, that's great. Half price. Beautiful. I paid full price. But you live and you learn. Next time, if I decide to buy a holiday palette, which I'm going to try not to, I will not be doing it at release, because I don't have to be the first one out there. And that's something I directly want to change on my channel. I want this to be about using the makeup, liking the makeup, conserving your purchases, and not going overboard. So the other categories, to go really quick because this has been a lot longer section than I planned, is foundation, concealer, powder, blush, lips, and sprays. I don't think you can see from your point of view, but all over here is more eyeshadow palettes, and there's tons of setting sprays, and those aren't even the open ones. My open ones are right here. And then up here is more palettes. Here's my face palettes. Here's my quads, and like small ones down here is my Pat McGrath and my other stuff. So it's kind of one of those things that I have a ton of sprays. I have a ton of lip glosses. I have a ton of blush, powders, concealers, foundations. There's no reason to keep buying these. And eyeshadow palettes, I have plenty. And really, there is basically 0 releases that I could not find within this collection. So it's ridiculous to keep buying them. Lastly, I want to set a limit on the number of palettes that I purchase. Now, I'm allowed to purchase from 3 brands, technically. Now, again, you heard my exceptions. I'm not trying to give myself 50 loopholes, but I also know that when I constrict myself too much, I go overboard and overbuy. So if I give myself these loopholes, I tend to be more successful, and that's something I've learned over the last almost 4 years of, actually it is 4 years. This month is 4 years ago I started my channel, and that's when I really started getting into tracking my usage and tracking my habits and all that. So, for my original channel, just in case you didn't understand that. I'm not going to allow myself to just buy unlimited palettes. Now, typically we see Natasha Denona do, blah, 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 blah. Let's say more gibberish. Natasha Denona does about 1 a quarter or less. So I'm not worried about her. So let's say she does 1 every single quarter. That's 3 to 4 palettes. I think that's more than reasonable for my budget. Urban Decay is even less. Urban Decay usually does 2 big releases a year. Sometimes like with the Hulk one, or She-Hulk, they put them in the middle and there might be more. So I'm counting that as 3 to 4 as well. So that's 6 to 8. And then ABH has been sticking right around 2 to 3 pallets ever since they did that huge thing where they released like 6 or 8 pallets in a year. They've never done that again. So I'm looking at about 12 pallets or less. I would actually love for it to be less. I would love, in fact, skipping that pastel mini right now is my first step of resisting every temptation to buy from these brands and look at them and say, am I going to use them? You know, my Urban Decay palettes in particular, I get a ton of use out of. I don't always use them for my entire look, but the Cyber palette and the Violet palette, what's the other one? Cyber, Violet. It's the one. I had it down here because I use it so much. The Stone Vibes palette. Those 3 palettes I use for my topper. Like, I love doing a generic look and then putting a topper on it for work. Those 3 palettes have so many beautiful shades for toppers. I do it all the time. So Urban Decay is one that I have a weakness for because I use them. My Natasha Denona and my Pat McGrath in particular, for the longest time, other than the minis, I was barely using them because they're so expensive. I want to conserve them. And that's something that switch that flipped this year. And now, like, when I reach in my blush drawer, I reach for the most expensive thing I can find because I want to get as much use out of it as I can while it's good. So that's my basic no buy. I'm sure there'll be different caveats that definitely change or switch things up, or if I see myself abusing the system, I may revamp it halfway through the year or a month into the year if I need to, and go from there. So that is the basics of my no bite introduction on my changes and how I'm trying to adjust my attitude towards makeup and this channel. So if you have any questions, post them down below, and I hope you'll join me on this journey and like, share, and subscribe. And wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you're having a great time. And if you celebrate the holidays, whether it be Hanukkah, Christmas, or Kwanzaa, I hope you had a wonderful holiday. Thanks, guys, and I hope you have a wonderful day.